Right everyone, it is Finn here and welcome to some more World Cup 2022 news, where today we're reacting to Cameroon's 26-man squad. It has officially been announced, obviously with the World Cup literally being right at our doorsteps. All of the nations are announcing their squads for the World Cup. Cameroon have just released theirs, so in today's video we're going to be reacting to it. You guys know me, I like keeping you updated on World Cup content, especially African news, as not many people cover it, and African football fans, let's be honest, you deserve it. So jumping into Cameroon's 26-man squad for the World Cup, I mean, what a beast of a team we've got. I mean, being in a group with Brazil, Serbia and Switzerland, you do need a good selection of players. And looking at the goalkeepers, for example, yes, they've got some very decent goalkeepers, but the fact that Andre Onana, once again, he's come back from his suspension from 2 years ago, I think it's really good that he played in the African Cup of Nations, kind of warming him back into the squad. Once again, they've got themselves a very solid goalkeeper. In terms of defenders Cameroon are taking, I think Castelletto is probably their best centre-back option that they're taking. As we know, he's an absolute beast of a man in terms of winning those aerial battles. He will get the job done, especially versus nations like Brazil, for example, where I wouldn't say in terms of their physical aerial elements that they would actually top a nation like Cameroon. Obviously, look at other kind of midfield battles. I mean, let's be honest, Anguissa will be the focal point. He could almost be the kind of MVP for Cameroon going into this tournament. He could be the most important player. As we've seen, he's been absolutely brilliant for Napoli this season, and once again, also heavily underrated. I mean, looking at the fullback options, we've obviously got Faye, who I've spoken about many times, that Collins Faye is an underrated fullback and does deserve a lot more credit. Same goes for Tolo. I mean, in terms of him playing for Seattle, I would say that he's almost been one of the best fullbacks in the MLS over the last 2-3 years, but because not a lot of people watch the MLS, they won't quite realize how brilliant of a player he is. Once again, we've got Nkulu, who's probably the best centre-back partner to go with Castillo. Obviously, back to the midfield, we've spoken about Anguissa, but I think looking at players like Hongla, as we know, Kunde. Once again, I feel like Cameroon have a lot of good mixture. They've got a good balance of players going to this World Cup. In terms of defensive and attacking ability, Cameroon are absolutely stacked this time around. Once again, in terms of attack, I think a big focal point that people need to turn their eyes to is the fact that mbeumo will be going to the World Cup. Obviously, we've seen him for Brentford this season. He is an absolutely beast of a young attacker. And once again, I feel like it's heavily underrated. I don't know why he doesn't get the credit he deserves. I think it was a smart move, changing international allegiances from France to Cameroon. I think he'll get a lot more game time. He can build much more of a legacy in terms of attackers. I mean, let's be honest. This will be a real golden point for Cameroon. I do think mbeumo should definitely play as a winger, but to be honest, the fact that even after mbeumo, they've got players like Toko Ekambi, they've got Vincent Aboubakar, you've got Choupo-Moting, who finally seems to be showing up this season. I think Cameroon have a better squad, better than ever, to be honest with you. They weren't bad in the African Cup of Nations, of course, securing their third place spot. In fact, I would actually say in terms of performances, they were actually the best team in that tournament. Yeah, Senegal ended up winning the African Cup of Nations, but I would say that Cameroon were a lot more convincing. I mean, you look at a striker like Vincent Aboubakar, Golden Boot winner, he was an absolute beast of a striker. I feel like really kind of increased the amount of people who know his name. He really brought more lights to his name. I do think he'll have a lot of competition with Choupo-Moting though. Obviously playing for Bayern Munich, one of the biggest teams in European football, playing super well at the moment, especially kind of filling the boots of Robert Lewandowski. And as we know, those are gigantic boots to fill. As we know, once again, Toko Ekambi, one of the best players in the African Cup of Nations, one of the best players in the Europa League last season. Once again, kind of gets overshadowed by other stars in the team. But as we know, this Cameroonian national team, once again, I keep on saying it, but looking at these 26 players right here, it is an absolutely amazing squad, and they could do serious wonders. I've always kind of said it about this nation, though. It's a pity that Joel Matip hasn't returned to the squad, that he's not really interested in representing the Cameroonian national team due to various regions. I just feel like having a centre-back like him in the squad next to someone like Castelletto, it would just be the perfect finish. I do think heading into this World Cup, Cameroon finally have their team. They finally have their team that's ready for battle, and it's going to be an interesting watch. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all for today's video. Yes, I know it's not a super long one. I just wanted to give you my initial reactions to Cameroon's squad for the World Cup. As I said, I'm going to bring you as much African content for this World Cup as possible. Once again, not many people are doing it, and I just figured if anyone had to, it might as well be me. Don't forget, if you guys are interested in watching the African games at the World Cup, I mean, I won't be showing you the games, but I will be doing a live stream for pretty much every single African game at the World Cup. So if you do want to join my live streams, don't forget to subscribe down below, join the party, the Thomas party for the Ghanaian games, I guess, pun intended. But guys, I hope you did enjoy the video. Please do like, please do subscribe. The goal is 8,000 before the World Cup begins. If we could get it, it would be sweet. Until next time, cheers.